The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, welcome to the Ring and All Other Sports. Second episode this week. Tonight I got two special guests, the owners of Atlantic Pro Wrestling, Michael Morse, Joe Moakley. Guys, thanks for coming on again.
Thank you for having us on.
No problem. Real quick, just want to get this out of the way. John, my brother John passed away 3 years ago. He would have been 58 years old today. John, you're missed by everybody. I love you. Love you. That's about it. Guys, very successful show this past Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most crowded I've seen the Elks, the Newburyport Elks, where we do our shows. It got to the point where we had to stop. We had to start turning people away unless they were on our pre-sale list. We heard back from Jill, and I think she, the bar did the best that they've done in a while. We had over 300 people.
That's a lot for an indie show.
In the hall at the Elks, and from top to bottom, the fans were great. The matches were great. It was just I'm coming up on a year partnering with Joe, being involved with Joe. Last January, I kind of got involved. It was originally just I was going to start working, doing the social media.
Yeah.
Then it got, I started working on the booking, and it went from there, and it's all spiraled, and now we pretty much share 50-50 on the work that goes into building those shows.
Right.
And we've got it to the point where, it's pretty much show over show. They're paying for each other,
Right.
So it's gotten to the point where, I mean, I'm happy with what the product we're putting out. I know Joe's creative side is kind of reopened since I've come on board, but I don't want to be the only one to talk here. So.
No, it's like I said, like Mike just said, it was a phenomenal show. We went into the show thinking that it was going to be a cursed event. Like,
Right,
Mike texted me and he's like, I might just give you some money and I might stay home for the day. And I was like, it'll be fine. We'll all work through it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then we get there and, we open the doors and the people just didn't stop coming. They just kept coming. We're sitting backstage and we get a call from the front says, hey, we need some more chairs. All right. So we start rifling chairs out.
Right.
Not 30 minutes later, we still need more chairs.
Nice.
It's
a great problem to have.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you post that on Facebook?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
It was unexpected.
Right.
We expected we'd have a decent crowd.
Yeah.
We didn't expect I thought we were going to get half that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's just kept coming and coming and coming. And the Elks Lodge had just done renovations. They redid the entire venue. So we had to be very, very careful about whatever we were doing inside there. And then we just trial by fire loaded 300 people into your building with a wrestling show.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people that stood through the entire show because we literally didn't have enough chairs.
Yeah. And that, like you said, that's a great problem to have. And you have it, like you said, you had more fans than you've had in a long time. Or is that the most fans you've had, you think?
When we were running originally our first couple of years at the Newbury Fire Department, where we had that hall there, like we had standing room only on several occasions, for several shows in a row, and that was our first couple of years because we never really had. I mean, our lowest shows in strange circumstances because of a holiday, that we were up against, or some sort of a festival that we forgot about, and we would draw 80 to 100 people, which is still good by most indie standards.
Absolutely.
But for us, it was kind of low because we were always right around the 200 mark. But it's been a while since I've seen 300 people packed into a building and standing on walls to watch what we're doing. So yeah, it was definitely a nice sight.
Yeah, and the reason why I brought that up is because I know you have a great fan base anyways. Before like having all those guys, more fans coming in, you definitely had a great fan base. You guys want to go through the card? I actually wasn't there, unfortunately, but
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. The first thing we'll start. The Mistress Widow Belmont and Vanity Vixen went at it again. This time
Yeah.
it was in a last woman standing
Right.
match. The winner was walking out the new APW Women's Champion. They tore down the house. They busted up trash cans, beat each other with kendo sticks. As I'm sitting watching the finish, because we give them, we give our performers liberties to talk about how they want to do things. We
Nice.
give them our guidelines and
Yep.
then what we want to see. But when she's sitting there and she's duct taping Widow's legs
Yeah, I saw the
to
video
get
for
the
that. Yeah.
to get the 10 count, I'm literally sitting in the back and I look at Sonny Goodspeed and I said, did she really just steal John Cena's gimmick when he beat Batista
Yep.
in that last man standing? And he's like, yeah, she did. So I mean, that house, those two will, if Joe and I sat there and said, go out there and kill each other,
Yeah.
they would go out
Oh
there
yeah.
and kill each
They
other.
got good chemistry together.
Yes, absolutely. So that was one of the I know the fan favorite matches of the night. We had Vern
Dan.
Vicalo and Dan Terry in their street fight.
Right.
Putting an end to the winner. This was putting an end to their year-long feud. Vern came out the winner. It was so all over the place. It was hard to kind of keep track of what was
Right.
going on, but they use ladders, they use trash cans, they use chairs.
Nice.
It was again a great match from top to bottom. But and then Joe and I have also made a concerted effort to try and bring in talent from other areas.
Yep.
Like we're bringing in people from New Jersey. Like we had Corrine Mink, who is a young female wrestler who was supposed to wrestle Adira. Unfortunately, she was trying to be nice on Valentine's Day for her significant other and almost chopped her entire thumb off. So she couldn't,
Jesus.
cutting sweet potatoes. So she
Yeah.
couldn't go. So, we lost a match there. We brought in a tag team, Team Espana, to wrestle against our tag team champions
Yeah.
in Nightbreed.
Now, who are those guys?
Jose and Jose B.
Yeah, Jose.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out of Create a Pro
Okay,
down in New
yep,
Jersey.
Pat Buck.
Yep.
And Brian Myers.
Yep. And they train with people like the Breakfast Club tag team,
Yeah.
Francis Kip Stevens and CPA, Bear Bronson
Yeah.
and Bear Beefcake. So they are training with a good core of
definitely.
individuals. And Bear's been in for us again. Bear's going to come back in.
Yeah,
The Breakfast Club are coming in later in this year,
Nice.
May. Both of them, and they're bringing Chris Statlander with them at that point to challenge Vixen if she's still the
Nice.
champion at that point.
Yeah, I mean, we're focusing more on, that's one of the other problems that you have is running a company like this is bringing in fresh faces.
Right.
It hurts a few people's feelings, but at the same time, you
Right.
got to keep things fresh.
Absolutely.
And especially with the women's division, it's hard to find
Right.
women.
Yeah.
But luckily this year, I mean, already we have booked upwards of four or six new women who are going to be coming in
Great.
throughout the course of the year
Right.
to have matches with us. So it at least changes things, and we're bringing in some folks from Future of Honor.
Okay.
They were looking for an indie company in New England to kind of call their New England home.
Right.
They reached out to us, and we said we'd love to be that company for you. So
Yeah, so those faces those fresh faces will be coming through starting in August through November.
Okay.
December 14th is when our show is, and that happens to be when Final Battle is. So they'll have their Ring of Honor obligation
Right.
in December. But it's a group of 4 male competitors that will rotate through, and each trip they'll bring the Quinn McKay, which is I think one of the females that competes through Future of Honor and the Ring of Honor dojo. So
Nice.
we've been lucky with that partnership. We've created a good partnership with the people that Create a Pro through Bear and them. So and like Joe said, it's tough because you're trying to bring in these fresh faces that will bring the fans in.
Yeah.
But you do have to, unfortunately, on the business side,
Right.
hurt the feelings of some people that may have been loyal to you long term. And we'll still get those people on the cards.
Yep.
They may depending on what happens, they may just not be in the position they were
Right.
at one point.
As a fan, I love that idea, though. Seriously, to see new faces and that's just awesome.
Yeah, we did that once before when we were still in the Newbury Fire Hall, and we every single month we debuted. We made a point to debut at least one new person,
Nice.
and it was so it was something that everybody could kind of look forward to as a fan. It's like, okay, well, who are they bringing this month?
Right.
So every month we would bring somebody in. Like we brought in the Giant Pharaoh, and then we
Yeah.
brought in just somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. The Pharaoh's the only one that jumps out of my mind because he's so big.
Yeah.
Hard to forget that one.
Whatever happened to him?
He's still around.
Is he?
I don't think he's working as often
Okay.
anymore. But great guy. He was great when we brought him in.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think he'd fit in our building now. I mean,
Right.
our ceilings are a little lower over there.
Now, last night, you guys know I had Big Gun Jim Sargent in,
Yep.
Yes.
and now he had a tag team match, 2 of them actually. Right?
Yeah, he was a member. He was the team captain
Yeah.
of Team American Made.
I like this
um,
team too.
Through Full Force Elimination. Just for those who may not know, Full Force Elimination is our Survivor Series
Right.
type
We
show.
typically do it in November, but because of circumstances with the fire hall, we usually do it in either November or December.
Right.
It's usually our last show of the year.
Okay.
But due to the fire hall needing to do the renovations, we had to move it to the first show this year.
Right.
So it but it worked out because it wound up being a
Yeah.
great big show to
Right.
start off the year with a bang like
Yeah.
that. And typically it used to be 4-on-4 Survivor Series type matches. This year we went 5-on-5.
Right.
Each one of those, we have 2 of those matches, and the surviving members of each one of those matches
Yeah.
face off in the final Survivor match, kind of
Right.
like the Ultimate Survivor,
Yes.
like way back in the day when it
Yep.
was Hogan Warrior and Tito
Yeah.
Santana versus the $1 Million Team. Yeah, so we kind of do that every year. It's
Nice.
it's kind of our thing that we've done since that was. The Full Force Elimination was actually the first named show that we ever did back in 2011.
Okay.
So that was kind of our jumping off point.
Right.
So it's kind of nice because it's been that continuation every single year now.
Right. And you were just talking about just a minute ago about bringing in fresh faces and stuff. And I know that these guys have wrestled for you already, but just Cicero.
Cicero,
Yep.
the kids love Cicero.
Yeah.
And not just the kids, the adults
like-
love Cicero.
Oh, yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I really do.
On that, there was Nick Curry.
Yes.
Third generation wrestler.
Yeah.
Wrestling
Travis
royalty.
Travis Gillette, second generation
Exactly.
wrestler. So
Another one. Born in the business.
And then obviously Jake Sargent
Yes.
and Big Gun Jim Sargent, the American Made.
Right.
So yeah, they made it through. They made it through unscathed.
Yep.
I think it's the first time in APW history that.
well, they went through the first round
The first round
unscathed, and
unscathed,
then they had one person lose in the second round.
Okay.
And then and so they faced off. I mean, it's such a blur, but I know that they had CJ Taylor, Ike, Royce Bishop, Marco Santiago, and I can't. I'm drawing.
No, that was the other team. So,
Oh, they played. That's right. Team
they were
Venom. They
Team
were
Venom,
against,
so it was against the Sheik Abdul Hassan.
Okay.
Christian Casanova.
Christian
Ended
Casanova.
up being on that team. But overall, it was a great night. And then, in the finals, we saw American Made go over that team. Who the surviving members were: Big Gun Jim Sargent, Cicero, Nick Curry, and Travis Gillette. Travis hit the big elbow off
Yeah, that's
the
what Jim was saying last night.
off the Big Gun spear after the new group Redemption, which came about earlier in the night during the first Full Force Elimination, which is headed by Stiff Mike.
Yep.
And it also includes Bugsy Stone.
Yep.
And APW newcomer Kevin Giles.
Yep.
Which a lot of people might know from Elkmania.
Yes.
And Proving Ground. So the 3 of those big giant guys are now formed a trio called Redemption, and the video was released today on the APW website,
I'll have to check
which
that out when I go back to work.
it is they don't have good things planned for the other
All right.
competitors in APW.
Now, also, was Derek Simonetti and Dick Lane on the show too?
They were.
Okay.
That's actually where we found out that, that's where the turn happened with Bugsy and Stiff Mike.
Okay.
They were actually teamed with Dick Lane and Derek Simonetti, and who else was on that team? Larry Huntley was on that team.
Okay.
So there's the 5 of them against the opposing team with Ike's team,
Right.
and Bugsy and Stiff Mike end up turning on Dick Lane and Derek Simonetti and joined Giles on the other team. So
yeah, like you said, those are 3 big guys.
oh yeah, a lot of beef on that team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see where those 3 go.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to watch that video.
Yeah. And just real quick, though.
Yeah, please. Take your time. We got 40 minutes.
We would be doing this
quick.
full force elimination card in Injustice if we did not talk about the New England title match.
Yes.
The belt was vacated due to great things happening for Robo.
Yeah.
He was slated to wrestle Demon Ortiz.
Right.
An opportunity came up. He's over in India doing his thing. He did the right thing as a champion. Wanted the fans to see a championship match. He vacated the title.
Nice.
So we had Demon Ortiz, who was slated to face Robo, and we brought in someone who had just recently wrestled Danny Miles for the heavyweight title in Big Bacon Brad Hollister. And
who's killing it everywhere.
yeah, he's killing it everywhere. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've watched videos of Demon Ortiz. The first time I saw him in the ring was, besides training the some of the new students and people at the school, was at the Gilbonk in October, but he had a broken hand, or broken finger, so he wasn't able to do as much as he was able to do. And
oh right, because he was already injured by the time you had come on board.
Right.
So.
So I mean, that match, from top to bottom, the card was great.
Right.
Every match, kept the crowd alive.
Yep.
But I think we closed the show very well with the finals of Full Force Elimination kicking off after intermission. Big Bacon versus Demon Ortiz, which Demon Ortiz got crowned the New England champion, pinning Big Bacon, and then the Dan Terry Vern Vicalo Newburyport street fight. I think every single 300 plus fans that were in the Newburyport Elks went home happy. I think
you had a hot crowd all night because Anthony kept posting videos, and I was watching them all.
What happens, because normally we try to get out of there by 9 o'clock or so, and we got out of there, I think it was closer to almost 10:30, and nobody left.
Yeah.
So you're doing something good if nobody's leaving the building. We've had times before we've run shows and it gets a little long and half the crowd goes. Or they saw their guy early in the night and they're out the door.
Leave,
but
and you guys closed the show with Vern and Dan.
Yes. There was when we were putting the rundown and the order that we wanted it to close. Originally, I think we were thinking to go with the New England title,
right?
And then Joe said we have to close it. Dan and Vern have killed each other for the last year.
Yep.
We have to close the show with that match.
Street fight too.
Yeah. And they didn't disappoint.
Right.
And the thing that I'm learning, this is my fifth show, because September, October, November, and then last May, my 5th show at the Elks, and every show it's getting the talent is producing more.
Yeah.
They're putting their craft to out there, and they're improving, and I think a lot of that is now because of the way Joe and I have decided to run APW and the way we want the locker room to be a certain way, and we've eliminated a few of the negative attitudes and mentalities that were in the locker room, and now we're it's full force ahead.
And it seems like you get a nice mix of young talent and great veterans.
Absolutely.
You really do.
So it's kind of the key to running successfully, because you can have these older veterans like Luis Ortiz, and you got Stiff Mike, and Brian Malonis is there, Sonny Goodspeed's there, so they're watching all this stuff, and they'll pull the young guys aside and give them insight. And the best part about this is you watch the faces of these young guys that we're bringing in, and they're not giving you the yeah buts all the time. Their ears are open and they're listening, they're watching, what these guys are saying, as opposed to just, oh yeah, I was doing this or I was gonna do this. That's why I did that, and it's nice to see. They're being trained very well. The young guys that we're bringing in seem to be trained very, very well.
Now, you just mentioned a minute ago, you got a bunch of young kids training now?
Well, the school has been shut down for a little bit.
Okay.
We finally just found a location in Salisbury.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have the re-grand opening at least by March 1st, at the very latest. I think the plan is to be probably open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday during the week, and then Saturdays and Sundays we'll hold classes. I know we're working on a partnership with Hollow Stables and Mike Hollow to work closely with Wrestling Academy Revival. So we'll have to see what that looks like.
Right.
But we'll be back. Our head trainer will be Demon Ortiz or Luis Ortiz, with Amato Figueroa as one of our trainers another night, Setherin, and then also Stiff Mike will be a trainer who will probably do Tuesdays and one weekend day.
That's awesome. And Mike Hollow's a great guy who has a lot of connections still in the wrestling business.
Yeah, we actually we've been doing, before we found our new location, we said, well, we should still kind of keep the Wrestling Academy Revival kind of going in some form.
Right.
And so we were doing a Wrestling Academy Revival seminar series. So we have the venue. We're there anyway. The ring's set up by 11 o'clock in the morning. We figured, every month before we run our shows, we'll do a seminar.
Right.
So we'll bring somebody in, whether it's Mike Hollow or somebody else, somebody that can come in and teach these guys, and bring some, so we can get a look at some kids who are haven't come up yet, that are, so we can get our eyes on them. So if we see anything we like, we can pull them aside and say, hey, we like what you're doing, keep it up, give us a call when you're ready, or have your trainer give us a call when you're ready.
Right.
That sort of thing. So it
That's
works out
awesome.
well.
It really is. I mean, and even if Hollow wasn't involved, you have those other guys that are just great veterans. Like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong learning from Demon Ortiz. I mean, that's like unbelievable. Seriously, that New England Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and his knowledge is just, he sits at home and he's watching stuff from Japan, he's watching stuff from Mexico.
Because he still loves it.
He sucks it in like a sponge, and then he's doing these moves on his son and his wife at home, but then he brings them to class and he tries them out on the other kids. So you can't stop that guy, but it's a great thing to watch.
Excellent. Yeah, let me know too. When you'd have the definite date. Like I said, I'm going to be going live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll definitely plug that for you.
Yeah, we're going to do like a soft opening because we started to move the stuff down there already. So we're going to do a little bit of a soft opening.
Right.
So we have some just a little maintenance to do. It's mostly cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
But I would say by March 1st we should be doors open and hopefully have a nice grand opening and get some bodies in there. Like I said, Mike Hall is looking forward to working down there. I think he said he wants to do either Saturdays or Sundays, to do classes. So, and it's a nice partnership with him because he's got his wealth of knowledge all the way back from Killer.
Yeah.
George Carroll came by the seminar as well. Nice. So it was knowledge coming from everywhere.
Yeah. Definitely. George is doing great things with New Japan as the U.S. ambassador, so that's fantastic. Before we get into some fan questions, I definitely wanted to talk about two guys that have called it a career. The Canadian legend Matt Loudon and Hunter Ward.
Yeah, I mean, each, in the short time that I've been with APW, Atlantic Pro Wrestling, I can tell you that these two individuals, both Hunter Ward and Matt Loudon, they are 100% APW.
Right.
They would not do anything to tarnish the name, hurt the reputation. And I told Matt Loudon this when I first came on. I felt like we were going to rub each other the wrong way, and we probably weren't going to be able to work well together, because he is quite brash at times, and he'll tell you if he hates you, he'll tell you he hates you. But I've grown to, I would say that I consider him a friend now, and I understand that, the things that he does and the way that he comes across is because he wouldn't want anything to come back negative on APW. Right. And then obviously you have Cody or Hunter Ward, who is, the fans love him.
Yeah.
I think, I probably saw a good 30 or 40 people that were actually in tears when Cody had to make his announcement, both for different reasons. Cody's is due to injury.
Yeah. Now, can you tell me what was the injury? Because I didn't happen to catch the whole video.
Yeah, Cody.
I haven't talked to him yet.
He was in a match up in Maine.
Yeah.
And he took a bad kick from a competitor, and when
Yep.
he landed incorrectly, and he had already had a pretty weak, I think, left shoulder.
Yeah.
And this injured his right shoulder. So
That
now
was the opposite. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he took a big boot and it kind of kicked him right in the chest and
Yeah.
spun him.
Right.
So when he was going down and spun, he landed right on his left shoulder and kind of separated it. And he's got a lot of stuff going on
Right.
here, and with his line of work, outside,
Right.
he needs to be able to
Yeah.
needs to be able to lift heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, Cody's was Cody or Hunter, whatever you want to call him. It was due to injury.
Right.
He'll be around because he's a good asset to
Oh, yeah, I can
the
imagine,
kid,
yeah.
the locker room.
Right.
As an agent, we know that we'll be able to say, Cody, we're going to give you these 2 matches.
Yeah.
This is what Joe and I want, and help us run things in that aspect. Matt Loudon, his family's just getting bigger.
Okay.
Him and his wife are having a second child, and
Yep.
and he, as a responsible, adult, and family man,
Responsible, brash adult.
yeah, responsible brush, is doing what he thinks is best for him. Again, he's not going to be gone completely.
Yeah.
When he's able, he'll be there and he'll help us with the backstage production and the music, which is what he typically does on shows when
Okay.
he's not out in front of the crowd. He just won't be, in the ring taking bumps anymore.
Now, Cody was with you from day one.
yeah, they both were actually. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about Matt. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
they were both day one. I mean, originally what happened was, I had started back in 1999
Right.
training, and I took a hiatus, so I'm not going to say I've been 20 years in the business, but I started 20 years ago.
Right.
But I really kind of officially restarted back in 2011.
Okay.
And I'd met Derek Mitchell, who bought a ring, and he owned his own ring. He owned his own company, CWA. But he had moved to Arizona, and he left his ring with somebody else.
Okay.
Matt Loudon was one of them, the people. And so I was looking to get back into it again. Back in the summer of 2011, he said, "Well, I left my ring with a couple of guys. Reach out to them; they might be able to give you a spot." And I got a spot on the Haverhill Kids Fest show in 2011. That was my first time back.
Okay.
Working for the CWA, and I kept trying to talk to the guys who were running that. Red Rocher was one of the guys, and I was talking to them about wanting to run a couple shows. Really, it was supposed to be 2 shows.
Right.
It was supposed just to get something off the ground so that Woody and I could have the match that we were supposed to have back in the 2000s. So we finally wanted to do that. So we're like, all right, let's just we'll do it. You know what I mean? We'll get together with these guys, and we end up, for whatever reasons, they didn't think the talent that they had were capable of putting on an event of that size. And we're like, well, we aren't going to just use them. We're going to sprinkle in veterans. And we brought in Luis Ortiz, we brought in Jay Gillette, Mark Bowman, Taka Suzuki. Like, we brought in guys to work with the young guys. You know what I mean? We weren't just going to throw a bunch of green guys out there and call it an event just to get ourselves over. But we ran those 2 shows, and like I said, I think it was the last time I was here, a young kid, 6-year-old kid, came up to Woody and said, when's the next event? He's like, oh, I think I'm all done, and the kid gave him the sad face. And I was like, we might have to keep doing this. And then we came back the following year, and it's been going ever since.
And now you're really taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had
I
that.
think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think this year we have we have a show pretty much every month from now through the end of the year. So and 2 in the month of May.
I was just going to say that's what I was just looking for, because I noticed that you do have a couple of shows in 1 month. So that's excellent. I'm really happy for you guys. Guys, let's get into the fan question real quick. We'll bang them out and we'll talk some more APW. First question, Matt Loudon to Joe. What made you want to start a wrestling company?
I never really wanted to start a wrestling company. I wanted to have a couple shows. I wanted to have a match with my friend Big Woody, and but you know, I had money at that point in time, and I was able to run it. You know, pay for guys.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little bit of robbing Peter to pay Paul to do it, but at the end of the day, it all came back, so it all worked out. You know, and I had a lot of good people behind me at the start. You know, I had Woody and I had other guys. It was tough getting guys in the first couple of shows, being a new company. You know, we used the Wrestling Star Wars name because Knuckles said, "Why don't you just use Wrestling Star Wars name? People might remember that, you know, so it'll give you a little bit of a heads up, you know, leg up on everything." And I was like, "Okay, we did that," and you know, eventually we decided to just branch out and become ourselves. But you know, we were never supposed to be a company. that was the thing.
Well, I'm glad you guys did.
So am I at this point. Yeah.
And it was funny because, like you said, when you brought in like some of the guys that you brought, like Mark Bowman, I haven't talked about Mark on the show very often, and great guy, great talent too.
Yeah, I'd seen him, I think it was last year or the year before, we were doing a ring rental for Bob Evans, and he came up to me, and I didn't even recognize him.
Right. Oh, he looks so different.
Yeah, I think he had a full beard. I go, Cody, who the hell was I just talking to? And Cody's like, "That's Mark Bowman." I was like, "Get out of here. That's not Mark Bowman." But yeah, you know.
Good guy.
Yeah, I love Mark Bowman.
Next question for you, Mike. To Mike, also from Matt. What made you want to partner with Joe and get in the business?
Again, when Brian first introduced me to Joe, Brian Malonis, he's the one who got me in touch with him. I just wanted to get involved with a company that could use help with social media.
Yeah.
I come from, you know, I had a podcast that was pretty successful. I had 15,000 plus followers on Twitter. I did weekly shows. So I knew how to navigate to grow something via social media. And then from there it went to, you know, like I said before we came on, I moved into the helping reach out and get talent, and then going over ideas of how we could make the product better, like, you know, the new ring with the Joe had already done the new logo, but the new mat, we bring with the turnbuckles, all of that. And so, you know, we sat down and we made the decision, and being a lifelong wrestling fan, and knowing that I can be creative, be focused, and see a vision of where we would want to take it. I think that's what really reeled me in, was the conversations that Joe and I had about what we could do for the company and what Joe wanted to do, but he just needed somebody to help him do it.
Right. You guys are making a great team. And I love that you said focus, because that's going to come up in a few minutes.
Yeah, the other part of that too is, you know, without Mike, I mean, APW was more, lack of a better term, a hobby. You know what I mean? It was, you know, we weren't anything big, and now we transitioned now, and it's an actual business. Like we are a company where you know, an actual business, which is what I wanted it to become, but I just didn't have the wherewithal and the means to kind of move it towards that direction. And with Mike's help, now we've moved into a legitimate actual business platform with that. So, and it's growing. Believe it or not. Yeah.
That's awesome. Walter Mrazek says, past two shows have been beyond sold out. Congratulations to Joe. What is your most memorable match with Hunter Ward? Thanks, Walter.
You see, we've had battles back and forth. I mean, we've had strap matches, gauntlet matches, street fights, you name it. But
matches.
I think the most memorable match, I think, was probably our more recent one, which was the hair versus hair match, just because the buildup was over a year. I mean, I had to grow my hair out, so you know, literally it was like a year and a half's worth of just me messing with him, and you know, trying to cut his hair and trying to do these things to him, and then eventually we got to that point, and you know, we main evented. He and I main evented an APW show. Right. You know, I'd never thought I'd be main eventing an APW show, and let alone with one of my best friends. Right. You know, somebody I was in this with from the first days of APW, and we put on the hell of a show, and the fans were into it, and you know, and when I go backstage and people like Brian Malonis are saying, you know, you guys just had the match of the night, I'm like, thank you. You know, I wouldn't think that, but you know, when you get somebody like that saying that to you, you take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, just a little secret on that. That when we first put out the match, you know, the match breakdown on what match was going in what order, that was, I think we had that on like slated for right before intermission.
Okay.
And Mark Green, Jason Stewart, whatever you know him by, he is actually the one who said no. You have to end the show with this match because of the buildup.
Right.
It's going to keep people in their seats. It's going to keep the house full till the end. And, so even up until that point, Joe and Cody, they weren't technically the main event. You typically close the show with your main event. And that got moved. And at the end of the night, we all were sitting backstage and we were like, that was the best thing we could have done. Putting it on fourth, we may have lost half the people in the building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And luckily, we have enough people who can see things like that, and we're open enough that you can come to us and say, "Hey, we have this idea. You should probably do this," and we listen.
Right.
If somebody's got a better idea than I have, I'm not going to say, no, my idea is good and yours is crap.
And it's funny because we talked about how you have some veterans, and
Yeah.
Jason's got a great mind for the business, been involved for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's a very smart guy. Excellent. Damon Farah. Well, great fan. I know you guys love Damon. Great guy. I'll see him tomorrow night. See you tomorrow, Damon. To both of you guys, congratulations. Saturday night show was phenomenal, as was the last several shows. Buying my season ticket last night was the easiest decision he's made in a long time. The hard work both of you have put in has clearly paid off. To Mike, back to the focus spot. You were one of the most focused people he's ever met, and as a relatively new promoter, what are some of the toughest obstacles you've had to overcome since getting into the business?
I would say the biggest obstacle I've had to overcome is when I reach out to veteran talent, talent that has been around New England for quite some time. They don't know who I am.
Right.
I'll just tell a little story. We have booked a specific individual for a future show.
Yeah.
I reached out to that person, and he said to me, "Oh, I didn't answer you because I didn't know who you were." And he reached out to Joe, and Joe told him who I was.
Right.
And now when I feel more comfortable going out. So I think that was the biggest thing is if I'm reaching out to veteran talent that may not have worked for APW since I've been here, that and learning how to run the music right is always.
But that'll get easier for you too, because the more you go, the more people are gonna know you. So
Exactly. So to me, that's probably the biggest obstacle.
Okay.
And just to touch on the focus, I think that comes from the fact that I know it's not always going to be perfect, but that's my goal, is to make sure that at the end of the night, the fans go home happy.
Right.
And before every show, we give a little speech and to the wrestlers and the talent in the locker room. And basically, I just tell them, I say, you guys, the 200 people, the 300 people that are coming here are paying to see you.
Right.
So it's our responsibility and our obligation for you and us in the back and to go out and make sure that those fans are happy from bell time, opening bell, to the end of the night.
Right.
And that's, I think, why I stay so focused, is I just want to put together a good product, and I don't want the steps that Joe and I have taken to put APW in a good spot.
Yep.
I don't want to take those steps backwards.
Right.
So that's
excellent. To Joe, again, congratulations on your success. Same question as Mike's. Of course, you being a veteran promoter, I'm sure you've had some doozies as far as challenges and obstacles.
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges and obstacles are as simple as, you have a vision in your mind of what you want the matches to be, and something gets messed up, and then that all of a sudden spirals, and then the next 3 matches after that have to be changed because the finish you had on this match just happened the match before that wasn't supposed to. So now you got to go to those 2 people who had their whole match planned out, or at least the crux of everything, and say, "Oh, hey, by the way, you got to change that." And then they're like, "Okay, now what?"
Right.
And it's happened a few times, and that it's a learning experience too, which is great, because you go, "Okay, where did we screw up with that whole thing, and how can we fix it?"
Yep.
And instead of having one person be an agent for 8 matches, you got to break it up. You know what I mean? So now we've broken it up. We say you have this 1 match, or you have these 2 matches, or whatever, because putting 1 person on 8 matches, that's 16 to 20 people.
Yeah, that's
that's a lot of running around.
Yeah.
And things are going to slip through the cracks. But yeah, every show you pick up little things and it becomes a little bit easier. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but the people that are watching you out there don't know what the mistakes were. You know what I mean?
Right.
They don't know that somebody was supposed to do something. They just know what happened.
Yeah.
You know, so people come backstage and you get upset as a wrestler and you can say, you know what? They booed you. They cheered you. They're happy.
That's all that matters for you guys.
Yeah. Fix it next time.
Exactly.
Next question is from, I hope I say his name right, and if I don't, I'm sorry. Jared Doomling. You guys know Jared?
I know Jared.
All right. With a few mainstays retiring last night, he says, I got this the other day. How do you replace them with up-and-coming talent? You guys already discussed that already, but if you want to touch up a little bit again for Jared.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, we're bringing in fresh faces all the time just to keep the roster fresh in general. And, you know, there is such a wealth of young talent in the last few years.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, you looked around New England wrestling and independent wrestling, and you saw the same faces. They were at Lucky Pro, they were at Liberty States, they were at Chaotic, they were at every show. So it didn't matter which show you went to, you were seeing the same people. Yeah. Now you can go to APW to see, you know, these four guys who aren't at other places, or you can go to, you know, Liberty States, or you can go to Lucky Pro, or you can go to Top Rope, and, you know, and there's show specific guys that are at a lot of these places, because there's just so many guys now that we're all very lucky that we can actually have our few mainstays that work for us, you know, pretty primarily, but, you know, there's so many people that can rotate around, you know, so, you know, 6 months, you know, Chaotic has these four guys, and then, you know, Chaotic's done with them, and then they come to us for 6 months, you know what I mean? So it kind of, you know, does their thing, but it's a great time. It's a great time in independent wrestling in New England right now.
Absolutely. And like you said, like there's so many new guys because there's so many great places to train.
Yeah.
So many places. It would take us the last 16 minutes just to talk about them all.
Absolutely.
All right. I think he has one more question. Jared has one more. Who is on your wish list to debut? Maybe not anybody you've already mentioned. Maybe somebody else that you guys have your eye on. Don't even have to be from around here.
I mean, I mentioned the person I'm most looking forward to, and I'm glad we were able to bring in, and that's Chris Statlander.
Yeah.
I've been watching her online. You know, so she's coming in May. I'm most looking forward to having her come in.
Nice.
So that would be right now. That's, you know, the top of my list.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would look forward to bringing some guys back. You know, we've had a great, we had Tommaso, we had Hanson, we had Dijak. It's fantastic. But the one guy who I'd like to see back, you know, even for a one-off, would be John Walters. Like, you know, if you have him come back and wrestle Lewis one more time,
that would be incredible.
Those two tear the house down.
Yeah.
You know, they put on phenomenal matches, and to see him, you know, walk through the doors again to wrestle Lewis one more time, you know, would just be fantastic. You know, but yeah, there's no shortage of great talent out there at this point in time.
It's incredible. Next, I got like 5 questions from where I'd like to say is APW's biggest fan. He's one of them at least. I know that. Anthony Mark Balkas. Yeah. Awesome show Saturday, guys. I have no voice still. What are the best things about being a promoter, and what are the worst? Thank you, Anthony.
One of the best things is the day after the show. You know, not even just the day after. I'd say once everybody's left, and you kind of get a few moments after the show, just kind of look at each other and go, man, lack of a better term, we fooled them again. Right. You know, and you know, people came and they were happy because leading up to that show, your stomach's in knots. You're going, I have to get this. You're getting phone calls because this person got hurt, or this person cancels, or this person's sick, and it's like, you know, so you're pulling from here, from here, and it gets crazy and it gets tiresome, especially the week leading up to a show, you know, and you're looking at your ticket sales and going, you know, are we doing okay? We're doing okay, and then all of a sudden, the doors open and 300 people were there, and you're like, I didn't even know I had this many friends. Right.
Now, I have to ask you, you said that. How many walk-ups did you get that night then, do you think? You must have got a lot, obviously.
Yeah, we, on the pre-sale list, I had about 165.
That's really good.
That means we pulled close to 150 walk-ups.
That's awesome.
General,
Seriously.
just general admission walk-ups, because for front row has typically been selling out.
Yeah.
So that's what made us go to the reserve second row. But yeah, the general admission walk-ups were about roughly about 150 on Saturday night.
And now, were you able to promote? How long were you able to promote Brad Hollister and Demon Ortiz? Were you able to promote that at all before the show?
Very short period of time. It was only like a few weeks.
Yeah,
because,
I found out. Yeah, I found out. I think the end of January.
Okay.
That Robo was leaving for India.
Nice.
And like I said before the show, we were going back and forth with ideas on what we can do, and I happened to go to the Twitter account and see that we had a direct message, and the direct message was, "Hey, I'm free February 16th if you guys can use me." So I said, "Joe, I think we just found our replacement."
Yeah.
And there was some back and forth, and we, between, as there is with a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Joe wanted to go one way with it. I was like, I'm telling you, this is the way we have to go. He digressed, allowed me to go in that direction, and I would guess that 3 days after the show, it was a smart decision. Joe would tell you that he made the right decision on that.
Yeah.
Now, you guys got a lot of good tag teams in your company. And this question is strictly for me. I'm just curious. Ever have any interest in bringing in Hammer Tunis? Maybe with the closers together. I'm
I think
curious. I know Brad's been trying to, doing a lot more singles.
Yeah.
But I just love that tag team. Just
Yeah,
curious.
no, I like the closers. I mean, I've gone down and seen PvP a couple times. That's where I actually met Ryan Drew.
Okay.
I
met Ryan Drew
yeah,
right here.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He actually
I met
came
Ryan
to
Drew
the
Saturday at the Hall of
he
Seminar.
came to the Hall of Seminar. I brought
Nice.
some of his kids from his top rope school to come up to
nice
train with Mike Hollow, and he himself wanted to learn from Mike Hollow, which is one of those great things you like to see, is another trainer from another school coming to learn from somebody else. The ego is a tough thing in the business, you know what I mean? And it's nice to see when people put their ego aside so they can learn more. And like I said, my door is always open to anybody. You want to come up and watch a show, you want to come in and pull my ear for a minute, have at it. I'm a phone call away, and send me a message.
And I noticed, like, I've asked guys here on the show that that you can be a 15-year veteran and wrestle a kid that's only been wrestling for 2 years and learn something from them.
Yeah.
And I love hearing that. And like you said, a guy like Ryan, who's trained a lot of people, he's been pretty successful as a promoter and a wrestler.
Yeah.
To want to learn from somebody, that's just fantastic. Like you said, putting your ego at the door. You need to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, Anthony has a couple more questions. When you see someone like Hunter and Matt Loudon leave, or others, how does that make you feel as an owner or a friend?
I mean, it's sad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I saw Luis Ortiz tear his Achilles, and he was gone, and look where he is now.
Right. Now, you were at that show?
I wasn't at that show, but I saw him the following morning because he was teaching class, and he came in with a boot on. He couldn't do anything.
Right.
He still got in the ring, but I'll tell his wife that one.
Yeah.
But
I don't think she's watching.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hey, she's been supportive of his return. She was there at the show Saturday night.
She supported him all
with
the way.
about 40 other people. That
Julie is amazing. She's she's got his back, and you couldn't ask anything more for a wife.
Right. I met Jim's wife last night, Big Guns, and she's very supportive of him. And you need that if you're going to be in the wrestling business.
Absolutely.
You can't have a girl telling you, what do you mean? I want to go to the movies. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to a show. It's true,
my wife just rather go to musicals. But,
my girl don't want to go to wrestling or anything either. But but she knows I love it, and if I want to watch it, she got no problem with it. Because I support her. She sells makeup, and I support her. I put on masks. We can do live videos. I got no problem doing it because it's helping her.
Yeah.
All right. Also, Joe and Mike, what's the best and worst thing about running a company? Anthony, we answered that already.
Yep.
And I'm sure you were watching since the beginning. You guys have so much talent. I like this one. Is it hard to pick who fights in the main event? There you go. You actually talked about that a minute ago too.
Yeah, we've been touching on a lot of these things, and it is tough to find who's in the main event. The thing that we try to do is we try to keep things interesting with the storylines, and we try to give things a few months to a year, sometimes longer, depending on how well the story is going.
Right.
And but you can't have too many stories going at once because it becomes tough to follow.
Right.
So if you have 2 or 3 stories going, it's good because then you can kind of transition one of those 3 things to a main event, you know, and rotate those 3 things in and out. But I think that's kind of what makes us a little bit different because, you know, instead of just going to see a wrestling show, you're going to see. I mean, I have the acting background, so I like to create. You know, like Vince says, I make movies.
Right.
You know, so
No,
that's how I look at this company. It's
Yep.
a company who you're coming out for the entertainment. You're coming out to watch live theater,
Exactly.
as opposed to a fight.
I think that's what makes wrestling special. Is
Yeah.
that. Honestly, it really does. I definitely want to promote a lot of the things at the end. So let me just say this last thing. I think it was tongue in cheek. He says, if you need a third partner, let me know. Okay, you gotta stop swearing. I'm gonna say it again. Your son was with you. I swear a lot too, Anthony. I'm just joshing you. All right, guys. Why don't you talk about your next show coming up, and then we have all these other little things we can talk about.
So yeah, Saturday night, March 9th at the Newburyport Elks. We have a great card from top to bottom. We have it's headlined by our heavyweight champion Dynamite Danny Miles versus the Masshole Mike McCarthy, who is the current #1 contender.
Yep.
So that's sure to be a great match from start to finish. We have New England title match, the newly crowned Demon Ortiz versus the former champion Robo.
Yes.
Who I'm telling you right now, Robo. I think he lives his lifestyle to that name because he literally gets back from India on May 8th, or March 8th, and is wrestling for us on March 9th. And that trip from India has got to be a beast traveling home.
I could imagine, yeah.
We have Insanely Rude coming in to challenge our current tag team champions Nightbreed, Setherin and Gallo.
Now, is this their first time in?
This is Insanely Rude's debut
Nice.
with APW,
Yep.
absolutely. So again, that fresh faces.
Yeah.
Speaking of familiar faces, but now fresh again, making her return to APW is Davian. She's coming into challenge for the APW Women's Championship against Vanity Vixen.
Vandy's gonna have a tough fight in her hands.
So yep, we're looking forward to that. We have a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles.
Okay.
We have American Made Jim and Jake Sargent versus the newly formed group of Redemption, Stiff Mike, Bugsy Stone, and Kevin Giles.
And so, now, was that a Freebird rule too? Like, are they going to be able to do that?
We do not know who is going to be up on the apron.
Okay, yeah.
Of that.
Yeah, we're very well known with the Freebird rule. I started when I had the glamorous ones back in the day, and I actually, you know, it's funny because I had people win me the New England title, and I would be the one who would wear it. So like I would send out Justin Silence, or I'd send out Danny Miles, and these people would win matches for me, and I'd be the New England champion. So it was one of those things that I was always walking around with. I'm always wearing the belt, but these guys are wrestling the matches for me. So you know, I never had to get my hands dirty.
Before you go anymore, I also want to let guys, you should get your tickets in advance because you can save money on general admission tickets.
That is correct. General admission tickets in advance are $12 online. You know, and then we have our reserved front row and second row.
Yeah, and it's only 15 at the door, so it's not like, you know what I mean. I'm just saying. So you get them early, you save $3. That's great. That really is a bargain. And I wanted to bring up, you guys are doing the season tickets.
Yes. So season tickets right now, they were on sale at the last show. They're on sale currently online from now until March 5th.
Yeah.
So on March 5th, they'll be taken off the website. You won't be able to purchase them, and those get you 8 shows for the price of 6.
Yeah.
So front row, reserve front row for 8 shows, you pay $120.
Right. Save 40.
And you save 40.
That's awesome. It really is.
Reserve second row, you pay $90. And I think it's a $30 savings.
$30, yeah. And then on the advanced general admission, it's $24.
$24.
I mean, how can you go wrong? And we already know, Damon already said it in his little question that he bought it. You knew he was going to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, he told me, I saw him standing at the door prior. He's always one of the first 2 or 3 people in line. And I happened to go out through the door, and he's like, yeah, I'm excited to get my season ticket.
Nice.
Yeah, he's been with us, you know, pretty much since the beginning because he always brought his folks in the wheelchairs, and we like to try to treat people like that. Like if you're in a wheelchair, you get into our show for free.
Nice.
So
That's
you know
awesome.
what I mean?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's great.
we do that, and we also do if you are a military veteran, if you bring your military ID with you, you get in the show for free as well.
That's
So,
awesome.
I
had no idea that you guys did
yeah,
that.
we
That's
try to give
really
back where
good.
we can. So
Nice.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, I have so much respect for Damon, within this field, one of his jobs, you know what I mean? I have a special needs stepdaughter. And, I think that might have helped us kind of bond a little bit, I got a lot of respect for him, a lot of respect. And I know it was very special to Vanity to win that match.
yeah.
She wore David's mask, one of his masks, to the ring, I heard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's really cool because David loved Vanity Vixen as Damon had told me.
he was a great fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loved it. Now, if you want, just if that'll help you, if you want to
Yeah.
tell about, you got your lineup is all set for the year. I just think that's awesome too. I really do.
Yeah.
That way people can say, like, hey, my mom, well, I want to have Dad's cake on September 7th. And you're like, no, can you have it on the 6th, please? Because I'm busy the 7th.
Yeah, so yeah, we're decked out. We have all of our dates April for the year. We have Elks dates in every month except for June and July.
Yeah.
During those months we do what I guess you would call festival shows.
Right.
We're at Amesbury Days, which is a celebration in the town of Amesbury, Mass. We're right in that little courtyard right across from Flatbread Pizza outside. Okay. Last year was the first year. Literally the midweek after the first last year when we were there, they said we're having you back next year.
Nice.
Because we drew a crowd that they would not have drawn what they previously had done, from what we were told. And then obviously someplace that we've been going, APW has been going for many years, which is Newburyport Yankee Homecoming, which is the end of July.
Okay.
Those are all outdoor shows. They're all during the day. The Amesbury and Newburyport shows are on Sunday.
Okay.
And the May 4th show, Haverhill Kids Fest, where we're going to be on the top of the parking garage on Merrimack Street in Haverhill. That's on Saturday, May 4th.
Nice.
But yeah, go to our website, AtlanticProWrestling.com.
Yes.
It has all of our events are listed. We only have ticket sales up for the March 9th show, and then the season tickets are up right now.
Okay, and Dick definitely is going to be putting it up on there, so that'll be great. Guys, listen, I really appreciate you guys coming on, and we're going to have to do this again. I'll send you some more dates. I'm looking forward to this March 9th show. I'm definitely going. I'll probably drive up with Sonny.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually hanging out with Sonny tomorrow. But I just wish you guys nothing but success, and it's just amazing. And again, congratulations on your show Saturday.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leo.
Thanks, Leo.
Guys, that's it. We're out. It's a few seconds early. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.